What is going on out there, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot for Watchalong Wrestling, a very patriotic edition of the Watchalong Wrestling Tough Enough rewatch. And of course, on the right side of the screen, I guess right over here, is my main man, Steve. Steve, how are you doing today? And happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. I'm doing pretty good. I got a slightly different setup here with the ring light and, switched phones and stuff. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, man, it looks pretty good so far. And Steve has just came over to the dark side here and gotten himself an iPhone. And of course, when you guys are watching this, I'm sure we'll be, maybe I'll get it up tonight, maybe a little early, but more than likely it'll be on Monday. But we are recording this here on the 4th of July. So I hope everyone had a very, very good Independence Day, enjoyed the day, enjoyed the long weekend. Hopefully you had a long weekend. If it's your first time visiting the channel, of course, leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to Watchalong Wrestling. But yes, Steve just got himself an iPhone for the very first time. And Steve, how have you liked it thus far?
Honestly, I like it. It's pretty good. My last phone was the Pixel 4, so it's not as big of a jump as everybody was making it out to be. It is definitely a kind of a little bit of a learning curve because this is my first Apple product since like an iPod Touch that I got, 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was. So I'm not, I've never been an Apple person per se, but it's definitely not as big of a difference as it used to be.
Yeah, and it's funny because as you continue your time on Apple, every few years you'll probably have to get a new device. It's typical with Apple iPhone users, and each time it'll probably be the exact same response as to how you like the new model, because usually it's one or two added features, but for the most part, it's the exact same thing every time.
Yeah, we've reached a point, I feel like, in technology where the amount of innovation we've kind of hit a plateau in that, where there's going to be new things that are going to be exciting at some point, I'm sure. But until we get to that next big leap, it's going to be very minimal as far as the kind of updates that we're getting. But it's pretty cool so far. I like it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and I remember your last phone, the Pixel 4, it used to take great photos too. So it's probably not that big of a jump in terms of the photo quality. I used to take some really good photos with that one.
Oh, yeah, it was great. And that's the thing, like, when I actually asked my cousin who works for Verizon, I was like, okay, so am I going to be able to do these kinds of things that I could do with this other phone, with the iPhone? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. You're not sacrificing anything as far as that goes. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Like anything else, whatever. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it is. It's something I remember for me. I went from the Android for the longest time. I was I'm never going to do Apple. I'm going to stick with Android. And then lo and behold, eventually I did go to Apple and haven't turned back since. And I don't think it's for any other reason other than once you're there, almost all of your stuff is a part of Apple. And so they make it very hard to go back over. Like, yeah, you can go back over, but you lose all your phones, all your photos, your videos, everything that you have on there already. So once they got you.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it was a pretty easy switch to go from Android to iPhone, because Apple actually makes this app. It's the only app that they make for Android phones, and its sole purpose is to transfer all of your stuff from your Android phone to your Apple phone. So I didn't have to really re-download any apps like manually one by one or anything like that. It all switched over at once. So it was a pretty easy transition, actually, which is, I guess, what they want. They want to be like, hey, it's really easy to switch. There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, did you have any, switching gears to 4th of July, Independence Day, have you done anything this weekend?
Kind of everybody else in our neighborhood does a lot. So we will take part of everybody else's fireworks around. But something fun that we kind of did on Friday is we took part in what we would call the Hot Ones Challenge.
Oh, wow.
So for anybody that doesn't know what the show Hot Ones, the Hot Ones is a show on YouTube, and where they interview celebrities and guests and that kind of thing with hot wings. And the gimmick is that you start off with like really mild, like regular, like basic hot sauce, and then you get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter until the 10th wing is like absolutely unbearable.
Oh,
and of course, they've done a few different wrestlers as well. So if you've never seen the show, definitely cool to check it out. They've had Chris Jericho on there. Undertaker was on there when he was doing his whole big media, kind of last ride stuff last year. Austin has been on it, and I think even like Sasha Banks was on it a little while ago. And of course, they sell all of their hot sauces for crazy people like us that like to, go and dive off into the deep end as far as hot sauce goes. So
you guys buy the hot sauces they have?
Yeah, so the ones that they actually sell, and there's actually ones that they themselves make, and they do, they go through a lot of other companies and that kind of thing. And I will tell you, like, I was pretty good up until about the 8th one.
Oh, really?
And it's just like once you hit that one, it's just absolutely like you just need to run through the rest of them, because that 10th one is, I think it's over 2 million on the Scoville scale, which makes it like 100,000 times hotter than a jalapeno or something absurd, like something absolutely crazy. And my wife Amanda did it with me. We were doing it, at the same time and everything. And we both had this same reaction of like, once we got that last wing down, we looked each other in the eyes and just crying, just tears, and just sweating from every single pore on my face. And like, it was so bad that the roof of my mouth was vibrating. Like, it is a sensation that I like. That is the only way to describe it, is that it's the most pain I've ever been through with eating something. It
doesn't affect you at all. Me, I can't even imagine. I probably get halfway through before being over.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, my mom was sitting there with us, and she also like absolutely cannot do any sort of spicy whatsoever. So she like sniffed at the first bottle, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm good." So it was crazy, but it was great. I'm glad I did it. Glad I don't have to do it ever again. But we have all these, everything up until probably the bomb, which is the 8th one, is fine, and I can use everything else as like on like a regular basis. But those other ones, like, those are ones that you bring out for like a prank or something, or somebody that thinks that they can handle spicy, and you're like, oh yeah, here, try this.
That is crazy. And then and isn't part of the show that when you're eating them, you're trying not to drink something or something like that? Like, I remember Undertaker being like,
I think it kind of depends on the guests themselves, because the host that does it, he's done it now hundreds of times, and so he's kind of used to it. But the celebrities, it always depends on them, because either they want to show how tough they are, and like when Taker was on it, he didn't touch his water, he didn't touch his milk or anything like that. But they've had other people where it's like after the second or third one, and they're already going for the water, they're going, they're sweating it out, and they're yelling and screaming and doing all that stuff. So it's fun to watch, if nothing else, just to see everybody's reactions and to see which ones can kind of tough it out and which ones have to throw in the towel.
Instead, we should have. If I go and buy these, we should do a Hot Ones challenge over here on the channel. But I would do very poorly. And
absolutely, yeah, no, definitely. Or if we're ever, next time you guys come down or something, we'll probably still have them. So
there you go. Actually, I could at least try it, and probably be completely miserable throughout it.
I would say you would probably at least get through the first 3. You would be able to muscle your way through the first 3, and then after that, all bets are off.
All hell breaks loose at that point. Yeah, we are heading to my wife's family here this evening. Right now, as we record, it is a little after 6, and at about 7:30, I'll be picking my wife up from work, and we'll be heading down to Dyker Heights, Brooklyn, for some festivities that are supposed to kick off around 9 p.m. So when you go to bed this evening, think about yours truly, who's no doubt sitting still on the road in immense traffic, one eye open, listening to Born in the USA on repeat, which will no doubt be on every single Sirius XM channel. And trying to power.
For sure.
But it'll be fun, and it's always like 4th of July. I was supposed to go yesterday over to the Yankees-Met game. I'll give a little cheers here for the Mets, who just came back and beat the Yankees in Game 2 of their set. Crazy fireworks there in Yankee Stadium, of the metaphorical kind, with the Mets back. And I'll pour a little out for the Yankee fans out there, because that was a tough loss. I was supposed to go down to the stadium yesterday, but with the rain and everything going on, and my daughter, unfortunately, was a little under the weather, so we didn't want to chance it. But it's always fun when the Yankees play the Mets, and it's been fun kind of watching the games here and relaxing, doing that whole portion of of things. And 4th of July is always fun. I always feel like it's all right, now we're into summer. I feel like it's not the kickoff of summer, Memorial Day, but then this is now, all right, now we're fully ingrained in summer, and away we go.
Well, see, for us, I would say Memorial Day is our kickoff because that's usually the last week of school. And or at least, for us down here in Florida. So July 4th kind of signals the halfway point for us because we go back as teachers usually the first week in August. At least, go back to start setting up our classes and stuff. So for us, it's about the halfway point. But, it's either way, it is a milestone and it is a great holiday. So, yeah.
Do you have any favorite 4th of July memories from the past? Any times you remember specifically jumping out at you as some favorite 4th of Julys?
I mean, there were one or two that we actually went to that we took in Epcot.
Oh, okay.
That we went to Epcot for. So there was one actually where we did kind of an America tour where we went to Hollywood Studios to see Muppet Vision because they have the little the show there where at the end it is a salute to all nations but mostly America. And then you go to Magic Kingdom to go and you have to go to the hall, not the Hall of Presidents, but you go to the Hall of Presidents at Magic Kingdom. And then you go to Epcot, and then you go to the American Adventure at Epcot, and then you stay at Epcot or Magic Kingdom for the fireworks that they do there. And, of course, you can't have 4th of July without fireworks. And there's basically two places that do fireworks the best, and that is Disney and WWE.
That's very, very true. Yeah, I remember, I think it was you time I ever went to go see the Disney fireworks as an adult in the summer of 2013. And I remember you saying something like it was like the most amount of money spent on pyro is Disney and WWE each year because of how much they do. So that's crazy. And so would you say that the fireworks for 4th of July are better at Epcot or at Magic Kingdom?
So I would say they're better at Magic Kingdom, but your better overall experience is going to be at Epcot. For a couple of reasons. Number one, Magic Kingdom for most of the time is a dry park, so you can't really find any alcohol or anything in Magic Kingdom unless you go to sit down dinner, which is a complete opposite at Epcot. And number two, Epcot just has more space, and you're not going to be as claustrophobic and stuff, so it's going to be an overall slightly better experience at Epcot. But if those two things don't bother you and wouldn't impact your decision, I would say definitely go to Magic Kingdom if you can.
Yeah, that's I think part of the 4th of July experience for me, of course, is indulging in a couple of beers to say the least, and maybe some adult beverages. So I could definitely see Epcot being totally insane during the 4th of July, and people just getting very excited. But that American tour sounds incredible.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And I mean, there was one that jumps out to me as one of my least favorite 4th of Julys. And it's one where Amanda and I went by ourselves to Jones Beach. And it was not a good time.
There are so many times where I have gone to the beach, whether it be Jones Beach, whether it be Montauk. Used to do Montauk every year. And you travel all the way out there. It'd be hours and hours and hours to get there. And then you do the fireworks. And then it would be about 4 or 5 hours to drive back. And I will never forget, put him on blast here, and then later on I'll make sure I go tell him that he needs to watch this episode. My main man, who's been on the channel a couple of times, Adam Toby, asked me, probably shouldn't give his full name, but it is what it is. He had driven us one year down to the fireworks in Montauk, and then the next time around he asked me if I minded driving driving the crew the next year because he had done it the year before, and I'm a team player, so I went ahead and did that. And he said, I'd like to have a couple of drinks this time around. I said, sure, not a problem. And so I drove everyone, and then we get there, and we open up the cooler. I start divvying out the drinks, handing out the beers, and then I go to give him one, and he's like, I'm good, man. I'm not going to drink today. I've been more. Now me and him sat there and had a sober 4th together while everyone else indulged, but that's one that jumps to mind. But yeah, there's been so many times with those long trips. I remember one time we all spent we went out for the 4th of July. One of the first times with my wife when she was my girlfriend, and I said, hey, me and my friends want to go and spend the week in Montauk, the night in Montauk. And I was so surprised to see that we all got one room. She thought we'd have a room of privacy, and instead it was, I think we had literally 4 of my friends, her and I, in one room, 4 of them on the floor, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah, it was one of the only times we had done that, but that's one that jumps to mind. But if I'm going back, probably to my favorite 4th of July memory of all time, it's way back, and I talked to you about it earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
Way back in 2005, and at this point, I'm fresh out of high school. I think you're fresh out of high school. Maybe you're still in high school. I don't even remember. Maybe you just graduated.
Summer of 2005, I would have just graduated high school. Yeah.
I don't know how everybody was there, but it was literally, you had a bunch of my friends were there. You were there. My parents were there. My sister was there. It was the whole crew. The whole kit caboodle went down to Jones Beach. I had a young lady who was there with me at the time, and I had asked her to be my girlfriend. This is my first ever girlfriend. My first legit girlfriend. You always have the one you kind of hang out with, and
yeah.
But this was I asked her to be my girlfriend. She said yes. I'm on literal cloud 9, and I cannot imagine doing this today. We go home, and everyone had a great time. We all go, everyone goes home. Everyone says goodnight, and I get home and immediately turn on Raw because I can't miss. I don't want to miss Raw. Heaven forbid. Spoilers. I can't fathom the idea of it being ruined. So I went, I turned on Raw and watched it in real time, started the show at 1 a.m., maybe later, because who knows what time we got home from that, and watched the entire thing all the way through. And it was one of these things where, I'm falling asleep. The show was not very good, but at the end, did you go back and watch the end of that show? Do you know what I'm referring to?
That one, I didn't get a chance to do this one, no, but what happens?
So the end of that show, Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan, they're facing someone. I want to say Carlito and Kurt Angle, and they're a team. And at the time, they had just teamed up on pay-per-view. They had reunited for one night only. They win the match. They're doing the Hulk Hogan pose. It is cheesy as can be. Shawn is jumping up and down, and then Hulk Hogan turns around. He goes like this, and Shawn Michaels, boom, sweet chin music, kicks him right in the face, and I just lost it. I was the most excited I think I'd ever been. I think I called you. I think I called James, who was both you guys were with me at the time, and I said, "Oh my God, Shawn Michaels just turned on Hulk Hogan. He turned heel. This is amazing." And yeah, woke you guys both up because, of course, at that point, this was hours after we had gotten back. So the guys were both ready to kill me, but I was so amped up about it, and that was the start to a very exciting road to SummerSlam with Shawn Michaels going up against Hulk Hogan at the SummerSlam 2005 main event. So really, really fun times. Great memory for me as a fan. And the very next week, I did not watch the show, but you did. And you had texted me on your birthday that somebody had returned. Do you remember who returned to WWE the following week?
Wow. 2005. At
this point, pretty much known for if I missed a show, something huge was going to happen. And at this point, there was nothing bigger than this happening. And it happened the following week on Raw.
I'm trying to think who was out at the time that would have was it somebody that was injured that made the return, or is this a debut?
No, this was a return, but the guy was not injured. And it meant a lot to me.
Meant a lot to you.
My favorite wrestler at the
time. Was it Austin?
No, it was Matt Hardy.
Oh, okay, yep.
Because Matt had just started the whole thing with him and Edge and Lita, and he had been fired. And I took it personal. I remember writing Xanga entries all about Matt, how unfair it was to Matt Hardy, how he got fired because Lita had been with Edge. And then I remember you said, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And I said, "I didn't see it." And I think you said something like, "Well, I think I think that just goes to show Matt Hardy will not die," or something like that. And Matt Hardy showed up. He hops the rail on Raw and starts screaming, "WWE can kiss my ass. I'm going to Ring of Honor." And it was oh my God, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Great summer of 2005 as a wrestling fan. And but yeah, it kicks off there. 4th of July 2005. I'll always remember that as a wrestling fan, and that day there with everybody randomly together at Jones Beach, which was never a fun time, but going to Jones Beach because of the traffic that you'd have to go to. But it was fun. It's brought back good memories, if nothing else.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you always have great memories at the time when you're actually going through, and like when you're chilling on the beach, or like they're hanging out with everybody. It's the ride back that's always the killer, especially at Jones Beach when you had that bottleneck and you're sitting there for 2 or 3 hours before you even get on the road.
Yeah, that's the worst. Yeah, but I remember that one specifically. While the fireworks are going off, it's always the time you can kind of take a minute to reflect, look at everyone who's around, and be like, this is pretty cool. Especially that moment in 2005 there with my friends and family all together. Like,
yeah.
That never happen again. And so for that to occur, and obviously my father's passed away, so the idea that he was there and he was never really around at that point for things like that. So it was a really cool moment and a good memory there with old HB Shizzle giving the old sweet chin music to Hulk Hogan. And I was not a Hogan guy at the time, so I was a much bigger HBK fan. So
yeah, of course.
In music, I was leaping for joy and about as happy as I could be. And very, very cool moment. If you have any memories of 4th of July that you remember as a wrestling fan, or any in general, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. And in honor of the 4th of July, I was looking for that perfect wrestling shirt. I was going to go with the old Sergeant Slaughter shirt that I have, but instead I went with this one here. I'll see if you can take a look. This is a WWE Tribute to the Troops 5-year anniversary shirt. Why do I have this shirt? Well, the reason I have it, I just bought a boatload of stuff off eBay from a seller who had a ton of stuff. I'm feeling like this guy must have at some point worked for WWE because the stuff he has is so random. And I randomly threw this shirt in there. And when I saw it, I said, excuse me, I've got to wear it for our 4th of July episode because very patriotic nonetheless. And
it is a pretty cool shirt. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Very cool. So, all right. So with that being said, do you think that we should go ahead and jump into Tough Enough?
I am ready for this. Yeah, absolutely.
Where we left off, our first contestant of the show, Jason, has bid farewell. Things did not go so well for him after Triple H paid a visit to the Tough Tracks Center. And Jason basically kind of gave him a rude awakening as to what to expect as a wrestler. Jason had kind of only seen the side of WWE and wasn't really necessarily thinking about the hard aspects that could be on the road and what the road life will do to you. So Jason said so long, and here we are. We're getting ready for the next episode here, episode 4 of WWE Tough Enough, and we have ours all set to the 3 zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And we will count you guys down, and myself and Steve, as we'll let you guys know every week, do have the Peacock edition that has the commercials. So we will let you guys know when there is a commercial. Hopefully we'll both have the same commercials. One we didn't, and that was definitely its own set of challenges. But here we go. And Tough Enough, episode 3. Let me make sure I am on my 3 zeros, and I am not. So I'm having a hard time with my zeros. All right. So here we go here. Steve, do you want to count us down this week and throw everyone up for a loop?
Okay. And so we're going to go 3, 2, 1, and then click, right? So, all right. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
All right. And now that entrance here is taken.
Our favorite intro.
I think that is actually Jason they show there from the casting special there in the.
Yeah, and that definitely looked like him. Yeah. I would love to go back and pinpoint where each of those matches came from in the opening. And try and figure it out.
Yeah. And now they're showing some more stuff here of the crew here getting ready and hanging out in the house. There's old John Big Gaborik. Everyone piling into the Hummer.
Yeah.
He's talking with the contestants about Jason leaving. And it's interesting because they other than with Jason leaving, they really never let us know how they were handling any sort of elimination. So it almost makes it feel like right now, like, hey, this is just survival of the fittest. And if people aren't down for it, they're just going to go and it'll carry along everyone else until the end.
Yeah, I don't even remember at the time if they had said, okay, it's going to be a elimination style tournament, like competition, or if it's just going to be, all right, we're going to have you guys go, and then at the end, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Now Al just said
here we go.
Person. And Maven was clarifying to see if there was going to be one male and one female. Maven, there's like 4 females that are actually a part of the contest here.
Right, yeah. So at this point, you kind of have to. That's going to run out real quick. So
yeah. Now they're really trying to do those front bumps, which are very challenging there. I watched my 1-year-old do some. She's now learning to tumble, and as I'm doing this, I immediately think of these guys doing this, and I'm like, for me, it was always like the idea of tumbling and rolling has always been so tough. But as I see her do it in such slow motion, I'm like, okay, that's not that difficult. Maybe this is able to work.
Right. Well, you got some that actually do the jump over, and then some that kind of just do that somersault.
Yeah.
Over.
So Al is telling him he's doing things the wrong way. Basically, Josh was too quick on kind of carrying Al, not waiting for Al to finish up the bump.
I really hate it when guys land on my neck.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. There you go. I will say Daryl looks like he's getting into better shape each week here. He was a pretty big fella here in the beginning. Now he looks like he's
I mean, working nonstop like that'll do it to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we're only seeing about like 3 or 4 minutes of actual in-ring action each week, but these guys were wrestling pretty much nonstop because they had to try to get a lot. They had to get them up to speed with the idea that they may be wrestling in WWE way quicker than someone who would be training in real life.
Right. Yeah, you're taking years of practice and training and all that stuff and compressing it into a matter of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh shit.
And then Al, not mincing any words here. He's calling Daryl out on his stuff.
Yeah.
And I like how Greg lays it out right there. He's ignorant to the fact that he doesn't understand why he's so disrespectful. Yeah. And Daryl's like, oh, well, I don't understand what the problem is, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's the problem, dude. You don't understand what the problem is because the problem is you.
Yeah, like he didn't see anything wrong with last time. Everyone's all upset. Triple H has this big serious talk with the crew, and then afterwards he's joking around, horsing around. And now they're at the WWE Training Center, which is a part of WWE headquarters. You can see all the bumps and bruises all of them have.
Yeah. Well, especially Paul with that knee injury that she had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I never knew that WWE had like different parts of their gym. It's pretty incredible that in their like big office building here, not only do they have a gym, but they have like different training rooms and everything.
Yeah. And even when he's in the gym, he's just sitting there, not really actually doing anything when everybody else is trying to work out. He is the prototypical class clown.
Yeah. And probably the worst person that we're on a commercial here. If everyone wants to take, are you on a commercial?
Yeah. Got at this point 40 seconds left.
Yeah. So so you have a 45-second break?
Yeah.
I have a 60-second break. Thanks a lot, Pete. Way to make things tough.
It's so weird.
I know. What makes absolutely no sense. Why am I getting the 60s? Probably because you know what it is? They probably track that I watch this thing quite a damn bit, maybe, so that's why they add in a couple extra commercials or something, but that wouldn't make any sense. I don't know.
Usually it's the opposite. Usually if you're watching, if like you've watched something already or something like that, they'll actually give you less commercials. So it's interesting.
You would think, yeah. Very strange. Peacock is a weird app thus far. I mean, I will say it's pretty good bang for your buck, but that being said, it's been very odd over to WWE. And I'll let you know when I'm off of my.
Okay, I just came back.
You're back? All right, and I am now back. And the house, but yeah, nothing worse than that person. And we've all seen those folks at the gym. Somebody gets on the gym machine and they're on their phone, joking around on a phone call. We could use the machine because you got to wait around for that person to finish up.
Yeah.
And it looks like Victoria is really struggling with everything going on here.
And like that's the thing, especially some of the people that are in it more for that weren't necessarily that athletically inclined to begin with. Like, it's a very, very big transition to go to all that physical activity all day, every day.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Bobby Joe had no idea this was going to be work. She thought it was going to be based on how good looking she was, and that would have been it.
Well, I mean, because that this is at a time where the divas were in the middle of that transition into becoming actual wrestlers. You have the ones that are like Jacqueline and Trish and Lita, who were actually the wrestlers, but then you had a lot of the ones that were, like your Tori Wilson, Stacey Keibler, like that were there more to be the valets and the divas more than the wrestlers.
And this summer of 2001, that's when they start coming directly over from WCW. So yeah, you have a lot of women there who have no wrestling training ability, and yet matches each week. Most of which are bra and panties, mud bowls, pudding bowls, whatever else.
Yeah, Now, obviously, because I haven't watched in a while, I have to imagine, though, it has been a while since WWE has put on a type of match of that caliber, where you got a bra and panties match or a lingerie match or whatever, what have you.
Yeah, they have a couple of women who are not as good as some of the other women, as we hit another commercial break here. Right now, I'd say right now the women are presented pretty much level with the males.
Yeah.
Here they had two different nights of WrestleMania. One was main evented by the women, one was main evented by the men. And so they've come such a long way, really, since the women's revolution in 2015, of really kind of presenting women's wrestling as on a level playing field, as it should be. But these women who probably aren't as good in the ring, but are just fantastic ballets. Someone that just let go, a woman by the name of Lana, was having matches, not as good, but she has such great character, and she was a great ballet that added so much to the people that she was with, that it didn't matter. But even her, she wasn't having bra and panties matches or
Well, and like there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a great manager, because you got like your Paul Heyman, type of characters who I would never want to see Paul Heyman actually wrestle either. Right. But he's a phenomenal promoter and he's a phenomenal manager.
And we are back here on the show. It looks like Big is chatting it up with both Bobby Joe and Victoria.
Yeah.
Basically giving them an ultimatum to make sure this is something you 100% want to do.
Well, and he says right there, they just lost him, so.
Yeah, so two women now are down, which means there are only three left. Paulina, Taylor, and Nydia are the only women left in the show. We're only 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
So three people have left the show now within a span of the first three first three real episodes here, which is just crazy.
It is, but also, like, if it were a modern day, eliminating 1 week at a time type of thing, that's about on the same pace, right? It just, it probably wouldn't have broken down where it was one guy and two girls. Maybe they would have done, alternating or something.
Yeah, I think they would have kept the women as long as they could. Oh, but Nydia is in tears here over losing Joe and Victoria. Who knew? Well, and it's funny because at the time, and not at the time, but on the MTV show The Challenge right now, TJ Lavin hosts it. Whenever anyone quits, he's always like, well, you know what I say? I hate quitters. We'll see you later. And he kicks them out. And Al just said they decided to quit rather than walk away or anything. He's just kind of disgusted in his own right. So maybe that's who TJ Lavin got it from, watching Al Snow back in 2001, and was like, I'm going to model my career after that. No, Al Snow.
Not Simon Cowell, not not anybody else, and that guy right there.
And I've had another. The commercials are coming in at a furious pace here.
Really? No, I don't have a commercial.
I do. I got another.
Okay, I will. I'll pause it here and let me know when you get the shot of Nydia on the phone.
Yeah, at least they allow you to pause. They do not allow you to pause on live events, which make things very difficult if you're watching a pay-per-view.
Which is weird, because even like, DirecTV and like DTV type of stuff, like you can pause that live, and that's not necessarily.
Yeah, no, it's very bizarre that they don't have that. They don't have the ability to pause or rewind or start from start when you start later in the show.
Mm. Even Twitch has that.
I know. So ridiculous. All right, now I'm back here
Okay.
on live stream. Chris talking about how it kind of brings him down a bit when he sees everyone else leaving.
Yeah.
And I think that this is probably by design that they want to make this show like as hard as can possibly be to weed out people who aren't taking it serious, and to make it clear like this is not the real world. This is not real world challenge. This is like
100%. Yeah, 100%. Have you gotten up to Nydia on the couch yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I could put on pause here. I'm up to Daryl. Let me know when you get to Daryl.
Okay. Yeah.
You there?
Oh, Daryl's right there. All right.
Yeah. Hey, look at Daryl. I mean, Daryl might be a class clown and not taking things serious, but here he is. He's outlasted 3 others at this point.
Hyping it up like it's absolutely like he absolutely is taken seriously, even though he isn't.
Right. Oh, I don't. Who gave us the Daryl nude footage here? What it is? Who was?
This was necessary.
Yeah, that is. That's like the folks who would do this back when like Big Brother first came around. You can get the live streams all throughout. And you can watch them, and I think you probably still could. And people would put into these folks halfway naked, fully naked, all online for everyone to see. But I don't know why we needed that shot of Daryl there getting into his in his drawers, getting into bed.
Okay.
Looks like this is maybe Maven being a jokester.
Yeah. Maven and Josh.
Yeah. I can't imagine one of these guys getting hurt and then having to go and tell Al Snow they got hurt because they were dicking around the.
Right.
Yes. Is that
where did the fire come from?
No. Someone said stop, drop, and roll. That's not how you deal with it if it's not no one's actually in it.
Right.
Cue to Kane in the entrance of the room, and he's standing there laughing.
Right.
That's the superstar thing here. The superstar appearance of the show.
That I would have loved that if that would have been.
If they had Kane doing the whole deal. That is crazy. I don't think they realize stop, drop, and roll is supposed to be if someone's on fire. No.
Yeah, no, it's not if there's something else on fire. That won't help.
Right. It's spread like crazy.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, they would really lost half the cast.
Yeah, right. We do wish them best in their future endeavors, though.
That's right. Well, that used to be the real, like, you knew someone left in bad terms if they weren't wished well in their future endeavors. Like maybe when Matt left because he blew up Lita's affair.
Yeah.
They probably didn't wish him well in his future endeavors. They kicked him out the door, and
it happens.
Yeah, and Al's making it clear he's hoping that no one decides to quit here, because these guys aren't even like they're not even leaving because they've gotten injured. They're just leaving because they're like, whoa, no, we're done.
Right, but again, like, wouldn't you rather have them acknowledge, especially at the get-go, in the first couple of weeks, when they realize, hey, it's only going to get worse from here, I might as well cut it now,
right,
before this spot goes to somebody that doesn't deserve it.
Exactly. There's as I see Taz here, Taz is kind of trying to tell them, like, hey, competitive, but these guys are quitters. He's pretty disgusted with them. He probably realized, like, hey, I better lay off or we're not going to have a show.
but I mean, I'm definitely on that side of, like, there was only going to be one winner anyway. So, like, what does it matter if they get cut or if they cut themselves, to be honest?
She's getting nervous now because she's, really tall, and I'm sure it's harder for her to take these falls than it is for some of the other folks there.
Well, I think it's when especially when you get in your head, like you can't get in your head when you're doing this stuff. This stuff has to be on instinct.
Yeah, no, for sure. As I've hit an unprecedented fourth break. Are you on a break now?
I am, yeah. Actually, nope. It went to commercial break, but it's not. So I'm gonna pause it with a great shot of Daryl on his hands and knees over here.
Oh, you're not on a break right now?
No, I'm not.
I'm getting all. I'm on this is my fourth one. I don't know what's going on.
I got the first couple, but
because eventually I'm probably gonna upgrade mine to the non-commercial one. I wish that YouTube TV, which I have for my live television, had an option to do it, because they'll hit you like a 4-minute. Okay, this is literally watching the show and you cannot get through them, and you can't even. There's no other alternative plan without commercials, which makes things very challenging to say the least.
All right. To be fair, there was a time where you couldn't avoid commercials, period. So.
All right, so now I'm back here on the show, and
okay.
We'll start together here and go.
Okay.
And I see Daryl here, on all fours, ready to. Typical amateur style wrestling here that Al's trying to distance.
Well, and that's the thing, it's not necessarily where Al Snow was a trainer,
right?
In that sense, they didn't have, it wasn't the guy that they didn't have actual trainers in there with them. They had just their wrestlers, so they're only going to be good as they're training them to be anyway. And if they're not necessarily a good teacher,
won't work out. Oh, Greg actually got out of it there.
Yeah.
Well, that might have been the 8th one Al did.
Right.
Always odd seeing Stephanie McMahon out of her element and being a normal person.
Right.
I mean, as normal as someone who shows up with 2 security guards, one of which is holding an umbrella for her could be. But you remember
the exclusive footage here?
Yeah. This is only on the DVD, and now I guess on this Peacock.
Riveting conversation as it is.
Yeah. Right. This one isn't. It would be great if this one was also Stephanie burying Bill Goldberg.
Right, or something. But this is more of just them. So, I mean, to be fair, if I were in the car also with, one of the biggest superstars at the time, the boss's daughter, I'd be a little bit nervous too, and I'd be and on camera no less. What do I have to talk about with this person?
For sure. You do one word out edgewise, it's you're out the door, pal. It's
right,
thanks. See you later.
Though, and the fact that she just referred to her husband as Triple H,
Well, so at the time, I don't think they were married yet. I think they get married in either 2002 or 2004, so they're dating.
Okay. Yeah, but still.
Call him Paul or something. But, at the time, they probably don't.
Even Hunter, right. I would take that,
Yeah, that's definitely an awkward thing here. And remember, Stephanie here at this point is probably 26 at most. She's still very, very young.
Yeah. And
all right, I think I am back. I think I got booted there for 1 second. Can you still see me on the thing? Am I?
Oh yeah, no, you're there. Yeah. And is this still exclusive footage? Because
no, I
hope that
they give us the exclusive footage, 20 minutes of the uncut, raw conversation between Steph and the female contestant here. But yeah, you can tell Nydia is shitting bricks. It's the most uncomfortable.
Yeah, she so nervous, and I would be too. I'm telling you,
Yeah. And it's always awkward when you meet. I'll never forget. I met this wrestler who currently works for WWE, Matt, and I tried to start my usual, hey, let me ask you one quick question, then you give me an answer, and I'm out the door. And Matt Riddle stopped, and we chatted for like 5 minutes, and throughout the whole 5 minutes, I was like, this is really awkward, because it's so uncomfortable expecting that.
Right. It's like you want to talk to them like they're a regular person, but then also like they're like you obviously want to also ask them like 20 questions and like.
Exactly. Stephanie's actually giving them some good advice here about how to carry themselves once they get into the actual locker room, about, making sure everyone puts each other over and puts the jealousy to the side. And I'm sure on the women's side of things, especially at this point where, looks are so heavily a part of the show and part of their entire act, I'm sure it is really tough. And I'm sure, the competition between them probably is pretty hard on one another.
Well, yeah, and it's because especially at the time, it was such a small pool of talent, if you will, where they were like, okay, well, we can get in at the ground floor right here, and everybody is trying to vie to be the person,
Right. Well, that's pretty crazy that they got to go to lunch with Stephanie and.
Yeah. I think we're actually back to what would not be exclusive footage. I think that whole thing.
I think it was. I think the entire thing in the car was exclusive footage.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon is talking about how being a part. Stephanie is talking about how awkward it is watching her father make out with other women as a part of the show. I'm sure it is kind of weird.
Right.
At the time,
there was the whole thing where wasn't he like, was it Sable or was somebody?
Well, Sable comes later, but it was Trish Stratus.
Oh, yeah.
Ate out with Trish, put her tongue in her mouth right in front of Linda, who was like prone and looking completely out of it.
Right.
So he's sitting there. Daryl is talking about how he was sitting there looking at old photos of himself from when I guess he was in college football. Talking about.
Okay, cool, dude. Great.
Jeez, Daryl. It's like, get over it, man. It's over. It didn't mean all that much. Here you are, just the same as everyone else. I think Chris is probably just a naturally uppity guy who went to Harvard.
Right. Well, and I mean, to be fair, also from his side, like, Chris, like, he's the one that, he had all this other training. He's the one that of everybody that probably wants it the most. And you got Daryl, who is not taking it seriously in the least.
Exactly. He said, I'm just a cocky son of a bitch. And he's like, yeah, you have to understand people just don't like cocky sons of bitches.
Yeah, it's like, it's one thing if you're cocky and then can follow it up with actual talent or, effort. It's another thing when you're just cocky and also awful.
Right. There's no for you to be cocky. It's like, come on. I do like that Greg is wearing my all-time favorite WWE shirt. That is a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. And on the back it says Bye Bye Jackass, which was my favorite shirt ever as a kid.
Yeah.
I remember finally getting my parents to allow me to wear it to school as a little high schooler, and I was very excited.
Oh, yeah. Wrestling shirts were the best because, they always had some sort of, minor curse word or something on it.
And I would always like to wear it because typically you'd get, and they just found out they're going to the show. This is typically exactly the way I still act when I find out that my wife gives me the go ahead to go to a show with her. And
Al Snow doing you know how many times I've said that to my kids also, where it's like, all right, we're going on this field trip. You're not going to embarrass me. This isn't about you. This is about me right now.
Yep. And I'm like, oh God, this is even worse than me. I mean, geez, jumping for joy and hugging.
I feel like they have to hype it up. Like they were like, all right, guys, so here's going to be the shot of you guys very excited to go to SmackDown.
Right. It reminds me of we once went to a SmackDown taping. I used to go walk over from Hofstra to get us tickets. And I remember one time being on the phone with you Were they saying they had front row seats here to this SmackDown, and this is in New Hampshire?
Yeah, so this is on Providence, Rhode Island.
Providence, Rhode Island, so right near Connecticut.
And listening to the classic WWE rock.
Oh, big time, yeah. This is probably a band signed to WWE Records. But I remember we got the SmackDown.
Steph with crimped hair. Love it.
Stephanie doesn't look anything like she looked in the last scene visiting these
right.
kids. Lita, Jericho, and Big Show. Wow, Rock is a part of this. It's a loaded show. You have so many. That is a cool deal. That's pretty
I mean, that would make it all worth it, right? Like,
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever sat exactly front row for a WWE show, but
no.
I remember we had really good seats for. I had called you and was getting nosebleeds, and you were like, "I'm tired of the nosebleeds." And we sat like pretty close, and I think I even had a sign that said "Batista sucks," and I held it up all night, and he saw it and everything. But yes, that is pretty exciting. But I think that must be incredible. And I guess that's the end of the episode. These episodes end so out of nowhere, like they're
so abruptly. Yeah.
That is. It looks like the next one here. I didn't see what the title of the next one was.
It is Dinner with Mr. Patterson.
So late great Pat Patterson. They're going through all of them in a row. They had Triple H, Stephanie, now Pat. At some point, maybe Vince will make an appearance.
Or Mary Jo Briscoe, or
yeah.
So because I had kind of seen a little bit of the preview beforehand, and because just like I said before, like I kind of wanted to know what show they went to. So I dug a little deep, and based on what I found, I'm like 99% sure it was the March 22nd, 2001 taping in Providence, Rhode Island. And
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, so and I did it based on I went to a website, it's prowrestling.fandom.com, and there's actually one of the pictures from the episode. You can see in the front row Josh and Chris with a red shirt and a white hat on, and Josh with his like kind of purple gray, like collared shirt that he's wearing. And I was able to pick it out from that, and I was like, all right, this has got to be it. So let me run down the card for you.
Okay.
Opening match is the WWF Hardcore title match, Raven versus Chris Jericho.
Wow.
So at the time, Jericho is the Intercontinental Champion, but it's not his belt on the line. It's the Hardcore title match, which Raven is the champ, and I think Raven retains his belt. Next up was the 6-man tag team match. You have the infamous stable, the X Factor.
Oh, my favorite.
Do you remember who is in X Factor?
My main man, Just Incredible.
Yep.
X-Pac, and
yep.
I don't know the other one. Well, X-Pac had to be, yeah, and the other one, I guess, Paul, whatever, Albert, right?
Albert, yep, yeah, coming down to the great Uncle Cracker music. What you looking at?
X-Factor, and then it was like right Uncle Cracker song.
Yeah. Defeated. Wait for it. Grandmaster Sexy.
Oh no.
K-Quick and Steve Blackman.
That is a random. They just found 3 random dudes hanging out and threw them out.
Yeah. Which yeah. So X Factor defeated those 3.
Wow.
You have a 2-on-1 handicap match. This is the first of 2 2-on-1 handicap matches of the night. The first one is the Big Show and Triple H with the aforementioned Stephanie. Now, so here it lists her as Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
So I think they were probably married on the show. I don't think they were married in real life, though.
Okay, so there you go. All right. Defeated Kane.
Oh my God. So fights Kane and Raven at WrestleMania 17, so it makes sense to have all of them together.
Yeah. So next is another 6-man tag team match. We have the Dudley Boys which is Bubba Ray, Devon, and Spike,
Oh, wow.
defeated Edge, Christian, and Rhino.
Okay, getting ready for TLC.
Yeah. And then you have the main event, a 2-on-1 handicap match. The Rock defeating Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle.
Real The Rock defeating Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Well, because Mania, so they were probably like a strange bedfellows type of deal.
Now, yeah, a couple of things. So this is about 10 days away from WrestleMania 17.
Right. Wow.
Which of course had Rock versus Austin as the main event. Now there was a clip in between here. It was JR interviewing Austin and The Rock at the same time, essentially.
That's like the biggest. People love that interview. Like the two of them together.
Yeah. However, something that you might notice is kind of absent from that list is Al Snow.
Oh.
Which is the whole reason why they went there in the first place.
Right. Is that they're supposed to have Al Snow. So this whole thing is a work.
So either that or it's also very possible that that was maybe like a dark match or like a house match type of deal.
Yeah, heat. Maybe they did a heat taping or something.
But then, because then it's like, why wouldn't they do this when they were at Nassau Coliseum or something like that? Because they're in New York. No, they're in Connecticut. That's right. Right. So yeah, I mean, I guess Rhode Island isn't that far away from Connecticut, right?
Probably a couple hours. Yeah. Thing is that is very clearly we have WrestleMania card because they have everyone in like kind of 6-mans and multi-person matches to make sure no one gets hurt here before the biggest show of the year. And I'm pretty sure if that's 10 days out of Mania, that means the next Raw is the very final episode of Monday Nitro. So what a crazy time period in WWE all around at that point. Yeah.
And I love you have the old school logo and you have like all the, like old school stuff there. So, definitely hit me right in the nostalgia for that part.
Very, very cool. But yeah, that was the end there of them going over to the SmackDown. Very cool. I love them all jumping up and down and Mark acting like this is the greatest thing in their entire life and brought me back. It reminded me of that time. I was trying to tell the story in the middle of while we went to the show at an opportune time of when I had gotten us tickets. I remember calling you specifically and being like, hey, tickets are $30. And you were like, where are those seats? Because I've been known to get the tippy nosebleeds behind the Titantron seats.
Yeah, the partial view seats. And
you were like, how much is it to be like down pretty close to the ground? It was like $50. So you were like, come on, let's just suck it up and do that. And so then I remember being on the phone with you and I got the tickets. I was so excited. And walking across from the Marriott was a couple of wrestlers who were with Tim White. And I was like trying to remain as level-headed and cool as I could before marching back to Hofstra. And instead I let out one of the geekiest Mr. White That's Not Wises of all. And they all looked at me with total and utter disgust as I walked back over. But that was a very, very nostalgia-filled episode there with all the Tough Enough contestants going and checking out some live wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is going to wrap us up today. Anything you want to say, Steve, before we get on out of here?
No, that was I think that was actually all around. That was a pretty good episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like as we're continuing to watch these, I feel like I'm starting to get to know each one of these contestants and grow a bit of a soft spot for many of them. So this has been a cool journey. And next week will be a very special edition as it will be someone's birthday next week as we record.
That's right. Yeah.
Very cool. And you'll be setting sail soon too, on to vacation. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going to be leaving on Thursday and, going to be up to Tennessee for a few days and coming back down, probably sometime early in the next week after that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, that is going to wrap us up here for the show today. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Make sure you leave a big thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video. Until next time, have a very happy and safe 4th of July. When you're watching this, you'll already be like, what the hell, man? That was yesterday.
Talking about next year, 2022.
All right, maybe next year around. So hopefully you enjoyed our memories, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching episode 4 of Tough Enough. Make sure you join us next week for Tough Enough Season 1, Episode 5. We'll catch you guys then.